Get connected with Take Two Radio on Facebook or Twitter at Take Two Radio. For email updates on future shows, follow at Blog Talk Radio. For previous episodes, upcoming guests, and more, visit Take2Radio.com.
And now, the fastest hour in paranormal talk radio. Welcome to the Malliard Report.
It's the Malliard Report, the Malliard Report. The paranormal things and so much more. Jim is here to explore. It's the Malliard Report. It's the fastest hour in paranormal talk radio. It's the Malliard Report, the Malliard Report. Here we go.
And now your host, Jim Malliard.
Broadcasting live exclusively on KGR Arkansas. My guest tonight is Nick-Dinsmore, formerly known as Eugene. Are you still known as Eugene in some circles?
In certain circles around the world, coast to coast, like butter and toast, I'm known as Eugene, yes.
Well, let's talk about ancient aliens first, and then I promise you, you want to talk wrestling, and I want to talk ancient aliens and paranormal stuff. So we're going to meet in the middle. We'll talk some alien stuff, and then we'll get into. I was just talking to Nick Wrestler on the show before me, and it's something that all children have watched at some point in their life, wrestling. So I have some interesting questions for you about that. But first, when did you get interested in ancient aliens? Was that something from a childhood, or is this something as an adult?
It's more like the History Channel TV show. I just became intrigued with it. It's really something that I liked, and I listened to Coast to Coast sometimes at night, and just all the paranormal and ancient aliens, just things that just intrigued me. So, do you apparently you believe in it then? Pardon me? Do you believe in it, or are you just fascinated by it? I'm just fascinated. It's just something that intrigues me, and just something, I like to, in my spare time, kind of delve into it and explore it. So, I guess my first question about this is, do you believe that aliens help people build the pyramids? I don't know if I believe, but I would definitely believe if more proof was given, but I don't know that, I don't see how we could have built them without them. Yeah, it does make you wonder. I mean, I don't want to do it today. I mean, I don't want to gather up 100 of my buddies and try to put one of those together. That's for sure. Well, here in Florida, there's the only monolithic stone structure that was built in the current era. The gentleman that made that huge castle out of stone, and then he said he knew how to move the stones like the Egyptians did, and then he passed away before he passed along the knowledge. Makes you wonder, though. Makes you wonder if he passed away or some... Oh, here I go. Sounding, I probably should put a tinfoil hat on or some kind of government conspiracy thing before I say that the government got to him. Absolutely. Makes you wonder. So when we talk paranormal things, is that the only interest you have? Do you have any interest in the ghosts or Bigfoot or any of that other stuff? Yeah, all of it. Honestly, I don't know a whole lot. Like, I'm not an expert at anything, but it's just something. Don't worry, I'm not either. I just I'm fascinated by it, and I'm always fascinated by somebody who has the same interest level that gets you started into talking about it all the time. And I remember the days where I'm like, oh, that was fun, and I can see it. And then it starts consuming more and more of your time. So I understand where you're at. Yeah, I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, and in Louisville, I don't know if you've ever seen the old tuberculosis hospital that's been in several movies, documentaries where I guess so many kids were dying of TB back then that they were putting the bodies on a chute, and there was like this whole host of paranormal things that went on in the hospital there. Waverly Hills Sanitarium, I think it was called. And there was one particular room where, like, a lot of paranormal stuff had gone on. Apparently, a woman had showed up in the front door and said that one of the little girls had misplaced her shoes, and they were behind the vent. And when they went and checked the vent, there was a small pair of shoes there. At Halloween, the guy that owns it puts on a haunted house, and he only let the haunted house in the basement. But there was a group of professional wrestlers that he let in the entire structure, and took us to this one specific room that has all this lore behind it. And I remember walking into that room, and I immediately felt like dizzy, lightheaded, not too bad, but I could tell there was some kind of difference in pressure in the hallway to this room. I didn't see anything. It's Waverly Hills has been on the Ghost Hunter shows, and I've seen on those shows where like children, you can see shadows of children running in the hallway. But I didn't see anything like that. But I definitely felt different.
You know, I read a blog a couple of weeks ago that they're talking about turning that place into a fancy hotel, for the lack of a better, or apartments or something. Would you rent one there?
Well, the building structure is phenomenal, but it's like there's nothing there. There's no windows, no carpet, no walls. It's all just brick and stone. And supposedly a lot of people were interested in it, but the stigma attached to the building kept a lot of people from wanting to purchase it. One of the local casinos had wanted to purchase it, but nobody pulled the trigger.
That's a lot of money to invest in a building that is not airtight, so to speak, with windows and other things that you'd think you'd need to put that much money into it, because you're going to put that much money into even sealing it up. That's why I don't make these business decisions for people. But so, okay, you've listened to enough of this stuff to know. What's your thoughts on Area 51? Is it still viable? Are the government secrets really there, or are they hiding them somewhere else in plain sight?
I don't know. I would assume that they probably had them somewhere else by now, but it might still be used because the rumors that you hear out of Las Vegas with the unmarked flights that go out there and the unmarked buses and supposedly an underground section between Area 51 and Las Vegas, which Las Vegas is like the most famous in sight. I know that it's used probably for what it used to be used. Now that it's more or less known to everybody that it's a secret base that is there but isn't there, they probably moved the structure to somewhere else or deeper underground.
Yeah, I've heard different reports of like underground tunnels that you can, well, not you or me or anybody that's anybody. You'd have to be somebody who is somebody that can take their vehicle and drive across country. Or there's even, I see one wild claim of a bullet train from L.A. to New York that you can be cross country in minutes. Boy, if there is such a thing, they shouldn't be hiding it from people because they could make a ton of money. But anyways, how much do you think the government? This will probably be where we get in trouble. How much do you think the government is actually hiding from us on these paranormal topics? I mean, I know they're hiding stuff from us, intelligence, government, between governments and stuff. But the stuff that really, I guess it does make a difference. But anyways, so what do you think?
There's really probably nowhere to tell. I mean, the depth of what the government hides from us is probably so deep that we heard all of the secrets and all of what was hidden, it might blow our minds. You know, I mean, I think that Pandora's box could be huge.
Yeah, it's kind of scary when you start. I mean, if we're talking about aliens and underground tunnels and secret aircrafts and secret buses and hiding people. I mean, just in the stuff we're talking about, man, if that all came out, I'd be blown away for sure. I know a lot of people would. So you Waverly Hills, have you been anywhere else? Just kind of, I mean, I know you've traveled. I guess this is kind of a wrestling question, kind of a paranormal question. Have you went anywhere else on a paranormal quest, so to speak, while you were out on the road?
Not so much the paranormal stuff. There was one incident. I was listening to Coast one night, and I don't remember who the guest was, but the gist of the story was aliens inhabit human bodies and walk amongst us. And the guy that was on there said he was in a restaurant. Said he was sitting there, and in his mind he thought, not aloud, he thought, if there's anybody in this restaurant not from this planet, please make yourself known to me. And the guy said within minutes a woman walks by, stops at his table, does a little curtsy, and walks out the building. So I heard this program, and I was actually at Disney's Epcot Center. And I'm walking around the Epcot Center, and just randomly throughout the park, I said that in my head, not aloud. If there's anybody here not from this planet, please make yourself known to me. Maybe 4, 5, 6 times. So I'm standing in line for a virtual ride at the Epcot Center, and this virtual ride is the test track. It's my fiance and I are sitting there waiting to get on this futuristic ride where you build a race car, and then you actually get to test drive it. You get to give it like super handling and super speed and super aerodynamics, and then test your strength driving it on a course, all virtual. So behind us are these 2 younger gentlemen. Maybe one's 23-ish, I don't know, dark hair, a beard, and the other one looked like he was younger, maybe 21, blonde hair, no beard. And his face to me looked so like blank and just no life. And he was the one that was at there's these little checkpoints you go through to build your car. And the younger guy was the one that was on the computer module, just typing away, building this futuristic car. And the other guy was just talking his ear off. Non-stop. I didn't see the younger kid talk, look at the guy, act like he was there, anything. The older guy just talking. So we get to the end of the line, about ready to get on the ride. The 2 guys are behind us. The younger guy hadn't said a word, hadn't blinked. The older gentleman talking to him. We're next in line, and I hear the guy say, I don't know if he said it to me or the other guy, but he goes, there are 7 species in our nearest galaxy. 2 of those are underwater species. The door on the ride opens. The usher pushes us in as I'm processing that. I look at the guy. The door shuts, and we take off. I never saw the guy after the ride.
Well, that makes you really wonder about things, doesn't it? Jeez. 7.
I mean, I don't know if these 2 guys were just talking like about that, or if that was a message. I don't know.
Well, it's a strange coincidence for sure. I don't necessarily. I mean, you're at Epcot. I think you'd be talking about cars because you're getting ready to build one, and for that the topic.
I mean, it was a futuristic car, but it was just the way that these 2 guys interacted with one another. The older guy looked like he was almost telling the younger guy what to do, as if this was a spawn or a youngling or something, and he was just taking orders. It was the weirdest thing.
Yeah, I can't imagine being in that place, looking at these people, and then hearing that and going, that's not right. And how long did it take you to actually come to grips with it, what you've heard and what you were seeing?
It was just weird because like we were literally on the steps of the ride going in as I hear that in my ear, and I'm like trying to process. The door shuts and boom, we're off. I get off the ride and see the kids afterwards.
I can't. I'm sitting here, I'm baffled by it, and it's your story. I can't imagine how you felt about it. So I guess that you probably haven't done that since. Ask if anything.
No. Occasionally I will do it in an airport, but I haven't got anything.
I can't. Still, once is probably enough. I couldn't imagine doing it again. You're braver than me for even attempting it to do it again. So
I just think it's fascinating. Like if there is an underwater species, like the mermaid or the aquatic mammal theory, maybe that's true.
Yeah, I mean, underwater makes more sense to me than above ground because I was just talking about this, how we've kind of overdeveloped the planet. But underwater, I mean, we've barely scratched the surface of what's in the water. So mermaids are fascinating. Loch Ness Monster, any number of, maybe even Bigfoot can turn into a fish, I guess, for the lack of a better word. So there's something out there, I hope.
It's all interesting to me. Whenever we would wrestle up in the Northwest, I mean, it was so heavily wooded and so not populated as the East Coast. Well, a Bigfoot could be anywhere.
So did you go looking then, or were you just as you were rolling through, going from town to?
We would drive from town to town, and I remember professional wrestling superstar Mark Henry told me one time, he looked up there and he goes, you know what, he's out there. I said, Mark, what are you talking about? Mark's like 500 pounds, strongest man in the world. that Bigfoot's out there. I know it. I mean, it's nothing that we ever really went after to look at, but we just to be all around the world and hear, at least in the parts of the world that you're in, that something paranormal, something alien, something Bigfoot kind of happened. It's just intriguing.
So I've got a question. I've got this totally horrible question, but I want to ask you anyways. Mark Henry or Bigfoot? Who wins?
Oh, I don't know. Mark Henry's the biggest man I've ever seen in my life. I don't know, but Bigfoot's supposed to be anywhere from 6 foot to 8 feet tall and superhuman strength. So I don't know.
Oh, come on. You do know. You just don't want to admit it.
Mark Henry picked me up and slammed me before. He's pretty strong. I haven't seen any footage on the Bigfoot, so I like to go with the devil I know before the devil I don't. That's
right. And if anybody has a scouting report on Bigfoot out there, we'd forward that to. Oh, never mind. I can't imagine. I mean, when you were out riding around the because your events are later in the evenings. Did you ever look up in the sky and wonder if there was anything out there, like UFOs?
Oh, absolutely. I wrestled in northern Manitoba, way north in Manitoba. And that's
out there.
We were on a road literally for 3 hours, a gravel road to this one small town that I think they mined gas or something. But there was no street lights. There was no buildings. I didn't see another car. Nothing, just gravel road for 3 hours. And I remember we stopped on the side of the road, and I looked up, and I saw more stars than I've ever seen in my life. Just the huge band that you hear, like the ancient Mayans talking about, and there's just so many stars. It was brilliant.
Yeah, I can't imagine because, I mean, being that far remote and just seeing with no natural light, because anywhere it seems that you get, I'm from Western Pennsylvania, so even getting out as far away from civilization as I can get, there's still it's cluttered by trees and there's no high place to get up high enough to see as far as you can see. So it's got to be special to see, and then you start playing those mind games. What am I missing? How many eyes are looking back at me right now? Kind of deal, and makes you really wonder.
Well, I lived in Phoenix for a brief time, and I didn't see the Phoenix lights that you hear about, but I knew a lot of people there that said that they had, a whole fleet of something flew over Phoenix, and people had videos of it and saw it, and it was there. But I didn't get a chance to see anything out there, but definitely makes you wonder.
Yeah, there's so many different stories, and as you said, you've listened to Coast, so you probably hear them all the time more than I do, because I'm sleeping during that show. But of different people seeing different things. But and the funny thing is, it doesn't seem like you mentioned the Phoenix lights, and people in Florida see them, so it's not like you go to Phoenix to see them. You can see them pretty much anywhere. Which is that a good? I mean, obviously it's a good thing, except for the people that like to drive tourism. But so I guess back to the ancient alien thing. So I guess we're both kind of in agreement that they're not so ancient. They're still all around us, but not helping as much as they used to.
I think they were here and they're gone, or they've been here the entire time, and maybe we just can't see them. We don't know it. I don't know, but it's just so many things in history that are unexplained or are explained by something that, to me, doesn't sound like it to be true. I grew up I went to Catholic schools my whole life, and I had the Bible feed into my head. But to hear some of these things and then hear a different view on it, but maybe it wasn't a chariot of fire, maybe it was a spaceship. It just really makes you think. Everything that we're told is true. Maybe it is true, but from a different perspective.
And when you said literally beat into your head, never mind. That's a bad joke. I've heard those old Catholic stories. Actually, I went to a public school, but the teacher I had one time used to teach at a Catholic school, and he showed me how he used to discipline children who weren't paying attention to him by cracking the knuckles with the metal edge roller. And that's probably the most painful thing I've ever experienced in my life. So I appreciate you being. That's probably why You're into wrestling. Never mind. Okay. So I got a beautiful private message from Dr. Kim, who's down in Florida as well. And I'm supposed to ask, what's your favorite paranormal show on TV right now that you're in? Like I know you mentioned Ancient Aliens, but is there any other that really catch your eye that you set to DVR?
I mean, literally, when I lay down in bed at night, I'll look at History Channel or Biography Channel or a whole block on my cable system. If there's anything, unexplained UFO files or Roswell mysteries or something like that, I'll watch it. But Ancient Aliens is like the show that I will definitely tune in to see. But I enjoy watching all of them.
I've recently got into the Ancient Aliens, the Hangar One, the UFO shows, because I started out as a ghost hunter, so that was kind of my niche for a while. But now I've kind of pulled back the veil and started looking at everything, and it's kind of, I don't want to say fun, but it makes me think, and I have to turn it off at a certain point, because if not, I'm up all night just thinking about different ends of things. So.
Oh, absolutely. The first time I heard George Norrie on Coast to Coast, I mean, I was driving to Louisville from Birmingham in the middle of the night, and it like flipped me. I came home and I was just like wired. The thought. I think the first show was something about there was a government person on there saying that he had proof that we've been out beyond our galaxy with men and with spaceships and all kinds of stuff, and it blew my mind. It was so intriguing. I had to learn more. I had to find more, and driving throughout the night cross country, it's just that's a radio show that I enjoy tuning into.
Well, it's like the only talk show that's on at that time of night too. So
absolutely.
It aids and abets that. And Dr. Kim also wanted to know, well, she asked a bunch of questions, and I'm only going to ask a couple of them because, well, we're almost to a break. Do you believe in angels?
So what again?
Do you believe in angels?
Absolutely.
Have you ever seen one?
Not to my knowledge, but it's just a feeling that angels are, for me at least, that angels are there. I mean, I feel like there can be aliens and paranormal and all that stuff, but there just has to be some good energy. And whether that's an angel or just a good energy of life versus the bad energy of life that draws you in. Because, I mean, I don't know. I don't know that I've ever seen one, but it's just a feeling that I have that they're definitely real.
In your car, speaking of which, on the go, don't want to miss a single show, use the TuneIn Radio app. You're listening to the Malliard Report on KGRradio.com, and we'll be right back.
Ray Sobbs here with KGRA. All of this technology today was supposed to make our lives easier. But if you ask me, it hasn't. Just the opposite, in fact. Absolutely, it contributes to stress and fatigue. Do you feel tired all the time? Well, let me tell you about our new sponsor, Power Vites. Power Vites is a complete multivitamin mineral formula designed to naturally boost your energy. This multivitamin goes right to work fast. It maximizes absorption due to its unique acidophilus base. This is not a multinational pharmaceutical. The Green Turtle Bay Vitamin Company has been producing Power Vites right here in America for over 20 years. They are nutritionists, making the world better one customer at a time. They produce high-quality products in small, fresh, potent batches and ship directly to you. To order, click on their banner on the KGRA website or visit energywave.com. Be sure to put KGRA Radio in the referral box. That gives us credit and you vitamins. Increase your energy with Power Vites.
Whoa.
The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Now you can share the topics that drive the discussions of your favorite talk shows with TalkStream Live's topic-driven talk radio. List and promote real-time talk radio topics, or post the topics that you want to hear. Hot topics are tweeted and retweeted, and include simple click-to-listen audio links. The future of talk radio is topic-driven talk radio. Available now at TalkStreamLive.com.
You read about UFOs, strange creatures, and ghosts. You watch videos about them. Do you know how to investigate them? Chase Plesky does. For 20 years, she's been Indiana Jones and Laura Croft rolled into one. The real hunter of Bigfoot, ghosts, and UFOs. She goes everywhere, from remote woods to ghost-infested buildings to the highlands of South America, hunting down strange things in our world. Now she's written a book to show you how it's done. Co-authored with UFO researcher Richard Dolan, Chase lays it out. How to prepare, what to bring, interviewing witnesses, doing a stakeout, handling evidence, and documenting it the right way. Get Admissible, the field manual for investigating UFOs, paranormal activity, and strange creatures. Learn more at richarddolanpress.com.
Also available on Kindle.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. May arrives soon, and with it comes another Contact in the Desert. So join me in Joshua Tree, California, for the 3rd annual Contact in the Desert Conference, being held May 29th through the 31st. 2015 brings another awesome lineup of speakers, including publisher of Legendary Times, Giorgio Tsoukalos, New York Times bestselling author David Wilcock, journalist and conspiracy expert Jim Mars, former head of UFO Project for the MOD Nick Pope, investigative reporter Linda Moulton Howe, author and contactee Travis Walton, UFO historian Richard Dolan, and many more. You don't want to miss this. Fade to Black and KGRA will be there broadcasting live May 29th. Just visit contactinthedesert.com for tickets and information. That's contactinthedesert.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRAradio.com.
Welcome back to the Malliard Report on the Global Radio Alliance, a new knowledge for a new world. My guest tonight is Nick-Dinsmore, or popularly known as former WWE superstar Eugene. Now, for all you wrestling fans who have stuck through the paranormal stuff, I promise we're going to get into some of his other passion, career, whatever. So, what made you decide that you wanted to pursue this as a career? I mean, obviously you probably had some interest in it and could do it, but what made you want to actually pursue it?
I mean, I've wanted to be a professional wrestler since I was about 8 years old. I saw Saturday Night's Main Event when I was a boy. I saw Hulk Hogan. I saw the Iron Sheik. I saw Hillbilly Jim. All Mr. Wonderful Orndorff, and it just from a young age it just mesmerized me. I liked all the pageantry and the athleticism, the colorful costumes, and in Louisville, Kentucky, at high school, there was like the pep rally. I was a football player, and at the pep rally, they said, Nick-Dinsmore wants to be a WWE wrestler when he grows up. And a girl came up to me and said, well, my dad owns a wrestling school in the next town. And I went to this guy's wrestling school, and I saw the ring, and I saw the local wrestlers, and it just hooked me right away. And there was that school was Ohio Valley Wrestling in Louisville, Kentucky, and the man who ran it was Danny Davis. And he became my trainer, and that's where I learned the craft. I started wrestling in 1996. In 1999, Ohio Valley Wrestling became the farm team for the WWE, where they would send their inexperienced talent to learn the ropes and polish up their skills. And when WWE contracted with them, I was hired as a WWE superstar, and I started on TV in 2004. I remember I was sitting in a meeting with Vince McMahon, and I was nervous, and I didn't know what to say. And Vince says, "I want to get back to character-based wrestling." And I had this idea for this character in my head, but I didn't know who the character was, and I just spit it out. I said, "What about a character that's kind of like Rain Man? He can't tie his shoes. He can't put a square peg in a square hole. But the minute the bell rings, he can do what he saw on TV flawlessly." Vince goes, "Great, start on Monday." Stone Cold Steve Austin walks in the room. Vince goes, "Steve, have you ever seen this guy wrestle?" Steve said, "No," and I told Steve who trained me. Danny Davis helped Steve Austin many years back. Austin looked at me and goes, "I've never seen him wrestle, but I know he's one of the best." And with that nod of confidence, that's what started me on TV.
That's just crazy to think about, how being at the right place at the right time with the right person walking in the room who knew how you had been trained, just all the stars aligned just right in that time. And you were on TV for quite a couple of years, right? Because I remember watching you on TV.
Yeah, I was on TV for about 5 years. After my TV run, I wrestled around the world. There's infinite amounts of independent wrestling companies, all over England, all over Europe. I wrestled in India. I wrestled in South Korea for the American troops in South Korea. I mean, I've done so many things, but you're absolutely right. I mean, I was in the right place at the right time, and very fortunate. And had great trainers to learn the craft. But it was, an incredible ride, and I'm just enjoying to see what the next part of the ride has for me.
I was going to ask you where your favorite place to go is, but I don't even know if you could answer that.
Wow, I wrestled in the Philippines. I wrestled in South Korea. I wrestled in Japan. I wrestled in Australia, France. I wrestled in in Scotland. Really, the fans overseas are so excited to see American wrestling and American wrestlers that they've seen on the WWE. It's just they treat professional wrestling in other countries like not so much as a sport, but just a bit more honorable. It seems sometimes in the United States, unless you're a major WWE star, it's still kind of a tongue-in-cheek wrestling company. But overseas, it's phenomenal, and crowds all around the world are great.
Yeah, I was gonna say it has to come with a certain stigma, though, to some people. Just like the paranormal, it comes with a certain stigma to people, though. So, at least wrestling, it's not offending people's religion most of the time. I can't imagine. So, okay, I had my buddy John asked me a question to ask you, even though he's vacationing with his children tonight. He wanted me to ask you this question: do you have any weird before you enter the ring superstitions?
Not really, honestly. I mean, the Eugene character is like the character that's like a little bit disheveled and a little bit crazy, and I'm really just got to get warmed up a little bit and just break a little sweat, but I have no real, I don't have to lace my laces a certain way or put my tape on a certain way. I mean, it's just the art form of professional wrestling is very subjective, and I like just going out there and having a good time. I'll listen to the crowd in the matches before me and kind of see if they're a lively crowd, if it's mainly families, if it's mainly kids, if it's mainly, drunken college guys or whatever it is. But no superstitions that I have to do.
Well, that's disappointing. I was hoping you had a great story about having to chew 7 pieces of gum backward. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but Hulk Hogan, right? Apparently
okay.
Hulk Hogan has to wear either a particular pair of red underwear or red underwear whenever he flies. He was in an airplane once that went down, but he survived, and he wore red underwear. So ever since then, wherever he goes, when he flies, he has to wear red underwear.
Well, that's something I did not know. I'm not sure I wanted to know, but now I know it. That'll come up somewhere in my life, and I'll be glad I know it. Well, for all the travel, I mean, I'm assuming the travel is probably the least exciting part of it all, going from city to city. I mean, you get to be with the crowd and do what you love, but then after it's over, I mean, you're there for a day? How long are you normally in a city before you move on?
I mean, it depends. When I was traveling with the WWE, sometimes we would fly into town, we would go straight to the show, do the show, drive straight back to the airport and fly out. But wrestling independently, sometimes I get to spend a couple of days and see the sights and meet the people and taste the food and experience the culture. And I'm very fortunate that I've gotten to live this life.
So, as you were saying, you wrestled at the highest level, I guess, the WWE. Anybody that you didn't get the opportunity to work with that you wish you had during that time?
I never got to meet the Macho Man Randy Savage. I would have liked to have met him, but I mean, I've been in the ring with Hulk Hogan. I've been in the ring with The Rock. I've wrestled Triple H. I've been at WrestleMania. I even wrestled and pinned Vince McMahon. So I mean, a career like that, meeting all the people that I've met. I've met every childhood idol that I had, and then I got the action figure. I got the T-shirt. I was on the video game. Everything that I ever wanted, it came true.
So now that you're doing the independent circuit, so how many days a year are you home, or do you even have a place that you settle down to?
Oh yeah. Wrestling independently, I'm home a lot more often than when I was traveling with the WWE. With the WWE, I might have been home 2 to 3 days a week, unless we went on an overseas tour, which could have lasted from, I think the longest one overseas I was on 21 days. But independently, I might only be gone on the weekends. Maybe sometimes only gone 3 days a week.
Okay. I mean, obviously it's better for you because, like you said, you get to enjoy the town. But obviously the paycheck isn't better for you. But at least you get to enjoy life a little bit better. So, I guess it comes with its drawbacks and its pros. So, I guess, would you be interested in going back if they called you?
I mean, absolutely.
Not that I have any swing with the company.
I spent the last 14 months as a coach for their current developmental system here in Orlando. But just recently, I've become an independent contractor again, and I'm exploring the ideas of starting my own little wrestling school, wrestling company, and branching out and trying to become a wrestling czar myself, if you want to use those terms.
Be interesting. I mean, you've seen the one side of the business, but to see it from the other side would be interesting to try to come to grips with, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I've helped people run companies, but I've never had my own. So yeah, I'm excited to be able to call the shots, pull the strings, do it all.
So I guess one of my next questions becomes, you said mentioning that you were a trainer, so if somebody was interested in just a broad based, what advice would you give a 8-year-old kid today that may be listening that is thinking they want to be following your footsteps?
I mean, today, getting into the wrestling business today is a lot different than when I started. There's a lot of people out there that have training centers and schools that might not be up to standard that others might think are any good, but if you can find a good trainer, I mean, the first thing I would tell a kid is go to college. I graduated from Indiana. I got my degree in communications. The whole time I was training to be a wrestler, but I knew that if something fell through, if something happened, I didn't want to be without a degree. I would definitely tell them to get their degree, and just the thing about a business like this is it's really a lifestyle, and you have to devote 110% of your time. You have to live everything about it. You can't be a part-time wrestler and expect them, to make it big. You have to take every opportunity and learn from everybody that you can learn from, and just give it 100% all the time.
So did you actually wrestle like the Olympic style wrestling when you were in school?
Yeah. When I was in like the 6th grade, I wanted to become a professional wrestler, and I told the wrestling team. So I joined the amateur wrestling team. I wrestled from the 6th grade until I graduated high school, which is when I started professional wrestling. But they were trying to teach me how to do double leg takedowns and cross faces, and I was wanting to jump off the top of the trash can and clothesline somebody like I saw the Road Warriors do.
I can't imagine that went over too well with the coach at that time.
But the coaches kind of laughed, but the kid that I was clotheslining didn't care for it too much.
I can't imagine. So on the road, okay. So when you're on the road, give me something be on the road that I wouldn't know sitting at home watching on TV. How much work? I mean, we see the 2-3 hour show on TV. How much work do you put in that day? How much? I mean, people have been joking in the chat room, is wrestling fake? Obviously, the physical contact of it isn't fake, but the storylines are built to entertain.
Yeah, the professional wrestling business, I mean, the matches might or might not be predetermined. Most of the ones that you see on TV are predetermined, but the physicality and the athleticism is absolutely real. But for like a 3-hour show on Monday Night Raw, the guys and the crew gets there probably 8 a.m. The wrestlers themselves might get there at noon, and doors open maybe 7 o'clock. So you got from noon to 7 to find out who you're wrestling, find out if you're doing any backstage segments, record those segments, whatnot like that. There's so much that goes into it.
Yeah, it seems so straightforward. You just kind of, everybody knows what the role is, but it's not as easy as it seems to put that all together and have it look fluid and interesting and all that stuff. I can't.
And then the whole time it's a live production.
Yeah, which doesn't help, because if a match goes long, I mean, well, I do radio, so if the show before me goes long, that means I have to shorten my show, and that kind of could throw your whole plan out the window, I'd imagine.
Oh, that's the worst thing. Let's say I think there's 16 segments on Raw, or I was on the 2-hour show. I think there were 16 segments. And if somebody in the first segment goes long, they've got to immediately restructure the rest of the show, like right then and there, to make sure that everybody has at least enough time to get their business across in their segment.
Now, when you're out doing it more independently, now let's flip it to that. How much? I mean, obviously you can't necessarily build the in-depth storylines that you would build for the TV show because you have the same viewers every week. So how does that work?
It's a bit. It's much less stress, but I might do a video from my house saying I'm coming to this particular town to wrestle this particular guy on this particular date, and I can't wait to get there and see all my friends and fans. And they would play that on if they have a television show, or if not, maybe on their web page or their Facebook page or something like that. But when you get there, it's a much more intimate feeling because the buildings are smaller, the crowds are closer. I'll go out and meet the crowds and talk to them at my merchandise table and stuff like that. You know, as opposed to WWE where they try to keep the wrestlers far from the fans most of the time. They might have meet and greets and stuff like that, but they feel if you keep the wrestlers separated, it makes you a bigger star.
It's interesting. I was fully aware that it was hard, not necessarily hard, but there was a withdrawal between the wrestlers and the fan. I never really thought about it in that light. Maybe that should be my business strategy from now on. Just don't talk to people and get off social media. Oh wait, never mind. Anyways,
be like the Wizard of Oz. It'd be like the Wizard of Oz. Don't mind the man behind the curtain.
People know I'm addicted to Twitter. That's never going to change. So, when you're out in these small towns, I can't imagine. I'm sure people. What's the question that you get asked every time you're out somewhere?
On TV, my uncle was Eric Bischoff. So one time ran WCW. He was on WWE. My on-screen character was the nephew of Eric Bischoff. And I get a lot of times how's that Eric Bischoff doing? Talked to Uncle Eric lately? You know, it's just, you know.
Well, have you? No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
I probably saw him 2 years ago, but he's afraid to talk to me because he knows if I see him, I'm gonna give him a fat lip.
Uh-oh. That sounds real positive.
That's wrestling talk. I'm gonna bust him in his chops.
So, okay, I've seen a bunch of different names scroll past in the chat room. Who did you like to work with, or who do you like to work with now in the independent circuit? I mean, I'm sure you have favorite people to hang out with or be in the ring with.
I mean, like I said, I've wrestled Triple H, who was phenomenal. I got to do a segment with The Rock. I wrestled for a long time in Louisville with a friend of mine named Rob Conway, who was tag team champion 3 times over. You know, I've been in the ring with Scottish wrestling sensation Grado, who's one of the best international stars I think I've ever seen. You know, I've had my fiance in my corner wrestling all over Australia. So, I mean, it's just, I can have fun at any type show where other people might be, like, upset or discouraged or don't want to wrestle. Maybe there's not a whole lot of fans or the fans are quiet. This is what I've always wanted to do, and to be able to make a career at what you love and what you want to do since you're 8 years old is just, like, remarkable.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, it's just like doing this. You have to have the burning passion for it. You have to want to do it. If there's one person you can tell listening or hundreds, you just got to show up and do it. So, I guess my next question is, I just totally lost my train of thought. That was good. When you're out in the moment, and you just after you win a match, you won the tag team titles, as I recall reading somewhere along the line. Is there any feeling better than holding that belt, or a belt even, after a match?
No, I mean, not really. To get the victory, to hear your name announced, to hold a championship belt up in the air, to hear that crowd chant your name. I was in a battle royal on Monday Night Raw with all the huge superstars, and I came out and the fans were chanting my name, and that was just like so unbelievable. You know, to be a kid from the Louisville, Kentucky area, Southern Indiana area, who didn't. I'm not related to anybody in the business. My father didn't wrestle. You know, I was fortunate enough to live close to a wrestling school that I signed up for, to get hired and to make it all the way to WrestleMania and have a WrestleMania moment in the ring with Hulk Hogan. It's just it's baffling to me.
Yeah, I can't imagine because, you know, like I told you, I think at some point, no matter where you're from, you've seen it, you've at least experienced it either on TV or. At one point I went to a live taping of, well, I guess a live broadcast of Raw. Just had to do it. It's one of those things on the list of things that, well, I don't think it's on everybody's list, obviously, but it's on a lot of people's list, and so it's just one of those things.
I've heard Vince McMahon say several times, everybody might not be a wrestling fan, but everybody knows somebody that is a wrestling fan. Whether it's, you know, I hear all the time, my dad and I used to watch wrestling. My uncle and I used to watch wrestling. My brother used to watch it. My mom, whatever. Everybody, at least in America, knows somebody that's a huge wrestling fan. And that is the connection that we have, wrestlers, with everybody. That, you know, people might not watch it every week, but they know somebody that does. But then I'll get these people that'll be like, oh, I never watched that wrestling. But I happened to be watching it last night, and this is what happened. And it's like, they know everything that's going on, and they can tell you week to week what happens, but they never watch it.
Boy, it's kind of funny. I've had people like that with ghost stories. I don't believe, but let me tell you about this one time.
Yeah.
Do you still watch it? Speaking of people that watch it every week?
Occasionally. I don't watch it so much because the guys that I was training here in Orlando are not yet on the big show. And the guys that are on there, I know them, but I haven't invested the time. But once the guys that I'm watching start to get up there, these guys are really good here in Orlando. Once the guys that I helped out get up there, I mean, I'll definitely tune in. But to sit there and watch wrestling for 3 hours on a Monday night, sometimes it's a large investment that I don't necessarily make every Monday night.
I don't understand why they went to 3 hours, but anyways, Vince knows what he's doing, and hey,
advertising dollars, brother, advertising dollars.
And I'll throw it out this way: if Vince wants to come on and explain it to me, he's more than welcome.
Oh, you're throwing down the challenge, you're throwing down the gauntlet. There it is.
I know, and the odds are he'll never hear this, but that's okay. Of course, we said great things about him otherwise. Oh, no. So, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
If you look at people like Vince McMahon that are visionaries, I've heard that Vince only sleeps like 4 hours a night. You know, guys even like Walt Disney, they just had a vision that was almost like so far beyond its time. Vince took a small New York-based company and then dominated the world with it. When other people in the wrestling business said there's no way anybody could do it, because at the time there was a lot of competition. And Vince just put on a product that was better than everybody else and had bigger stars and the production and just the amazement and the awe of his product was so far ahead of its time, you know. But what gave him that vision? You know, what drives him at 65 years old or however old he is to show up to work each and every day when he doesn't have to? The guy's a billionaire.
Yeah, that's what as you were saying that, I agree. Well, I mean, what keeps that passion burning? He could sit on a yacht somewhere and put his feet up, and the passion to take it from, which, like you were saying, from zero to multi-billion-dollar corporations is kind of. I wish I had that. I mean, I have some of that, but
it's just a thought that you know it's going to work. You don't know how. People might tell you it can't work, and that's kind of the way I feel about like me as a wrestler growing up. I knew I was going to be a wrestler, and that's what I wanted to do, and I was driven to do it. And nothing in my life have I ever been as driven to do as pursue this passion, pursue this dream. I don't know where that fire came from, but you know, I could spend countless hours talking about wrestling, watching wrestling, discussing wrestling, whatever it is. But you know, other things that I could have pursued just didn't intrigue me like that.
Well, Nick, it has been a blast. We'll catch up again about something somewhere down the line, I'm sure. You know where to find me if you come across something great. And if I have any wrestling questions, I know who I'm asking from now on. So be prepared.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks, Nick. Have a good night.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate your time.
As I wrap up this 200th show, I want to thank Nick. I'd be remiss if I didn't take a moment and mention a good dear friend of mine who passed away yesterday or Sunday, I'm not exactly sure when, who would have just loved tonight's show. She was all about independent wrestling and wrestling. Did some blogs for me years ago, was a former guest. Ashley, I'm struggling here again. Done tribute shows to people in the past. I'm not sure if I'm going to do one to her. Either way, if I do it live or if I do it some other time, I just want to mention it on the live show that I've lost another important person in the history of the show. You'll hear another one coming up here, Scott, who took the time to do something for me when nobody else would, and that's why it's still part of the show. And then I had CJ, who, even in the early days, back when the show was very raw, very horrible, he kept taking the time to tweet me every time after the show and tell me, you could do this, you could do that, but otherwise, you were doing good. So I just want to thank everybody. I don't want to end it on such a sour, down note, but be very careful and take time to thank everybody and honor them the best way you can. So that's what I want to say.
Well said, Jim, and congratulations on your 200th program.
And it sounds like a small number, Race, because you know Jimmy Church has done 250, but he does a weekly show. Coming in like I was telling Nick, 202 of 208. There's a commitment there that most people don't get and don't see, and I don't take the time to explain it. But I want to do that. So Jimmy pointed out last night he's not live, but Race has promised me more Jimmy Church, and I want to thank everybody who took the time to listen to the Malliard Report tonight, airing exclusively live. KGRA, probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. The Global Radio Alliance. To email me, Facebook me, Twitter me, Visit TMR 24/7. Big thanks to Race Hobbs, the staff of the KGRA, all the rest of the hosts. Thanks, Nick, for having me on earlier. The members, and everybody that took an hour out of their week to listen to me. Thank you. Until next week, keep quacking.
So before we flip that on-air sign to the off position, a quick reminder. For all things about the report, previews, and reviews, go to italkparanormal.com.
It's the Malliard Report. Yeah, the Malliard Report. The Paranormal Talk Radio Show with Jim Malliard as your host. See what lies beneath any paranormal activity. Go inside a world that others don't want to see. It's the Malliard Report. Yeah, the Malliard Report.
That's italkparanormal.com.
Get connected with Take Two Radio on Facebook or Twitter at Take Two Radio. For email updates on future shows, follow at Blog Talk Radio. For previous episodes, upcoming guests, and more, visit take2radio.com.